Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a flight review going from London to Mexico City with British Airways in their first class cabin. I'm actually quite excited about this because I've never tried first class before with any airline, and we can also compare the experience to Club Suites, which is BA's flagship business class product, which I have tried before. Right now I'm at the London Heathrow hotel. I have a very important video call that I have to take and it finishes like around 2 hours before my flight, so I decided to use some Redison points and book this hotel. Alright, I'm gonna go jump on my video call, and after that we're gonna take a bus to Heathrow Terminal 5. Alright, my call has just finished, so before we go to the airport, there's one thing that I forgot to film. Basically, I want to give away the first class amenity kit, and I want to give it away to one of the existing viewers here on the channel. So if you have been watching the channel in the past, and if you have commented at least on the one video before this video came out, then just send me an email at the email address that I'm going to leave below in the description, and tell me one thing that you think I could improve about the channel, and then 3 days after the video has been posted, I'm gonna randomly select a person out of those who reached out, assuming anyone reaches out, and I'm gonna send the amenity kit to whatever address you tell me. And if you're new to the channel, then first of all, welcome. I hope you like it here, and stay tuned for future videos, future giveaways, or whatever I come up with. So yeah, let's try this little experiment and see how it goes. In the end, I decided to take an Uber to the terminal because it was like 3 times faster than going by bus, and anyway, I was trying to maximize the time I can spend in the Concorde room. Had a really nice chat with the driver, and yeah, I'm here now. I think it's exactly 2 hours before the flight. When flying first or as a BA Executive Club Gold member, you get access to the first wing. It features dedicated check-in desks, a seating area, and most importantly, a separate security checkpoint that leads you straight into the first class lounge. Didn't have to take anything out of the bag at security. That was a first, and that was so convenient. Game changer. This corridor goes directly to the first class lounge, and despite its name, the space is mostly used by BA Gold status holders, because if you're actually flying first class, you have access to the Concorde room located right across the hall, and that's exactly where we're gonna go now. While I've visited the first class lounge plenty of times before, I've never actually set foot in the Concorde room. Alright, I am in for the first time ever. So it's a relatively small space, but it didn't feel crowded, at least at the time when I was there. I wonder how much it actually can fill up at peak times, given the pretty strict condition for entry. There is plenty of comfortable seating, and there is a dedicated dining area to the side, which you cannot see because I accidentally deleted the video with a proper walk through the lounge from my phone. Anyway, I headed straight to the terrace, which has another dining area, and I even had a quick bite. So yeah, I'm just sitting here and wishing I could have come to the airport a little bit earlier to have more time in the lounge, but unfortunately boarding has just started, so I'm gonna head to the gate. And it's a bus gate. I actually don't mind. I like the view of the airport. Okay, I take it back. This is not what I had in mind when I said a view of the airport.
2 hours later.
One hour, you going? Yep.
Thanks very much. We'll get on the way very shortly.
Attention, the cabin is fully completed. Can I kindly ask the ground colleagues now please use the aircraft? Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes, hace unos momentos oímos la voz del capitán del Southern.
A flight attendant then came up to me to introduce themselves and offer a pre-departure drink with some warm nuts. And this is actually where you start to see yet another differentiator between club and first class, apart from the seat, and that is the level of attention and proactivity that you get from the crew. As I was literally the last passenger to board, It wasn't long before we taxied out onto the runway for takeoff. So we've been in the air for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, and I'm pretty impressed. The seat is like super spacious. Granted, I have no frame of reference because I haven't tried first class before, but still, the cabin crew is super nice. They started the dinner service, but I opted to eat later because I needed to get some work done. So I'm fully taking advantage of the free onboard Wi-Fi for first class passengers. And I guess let me show you around the seat a little bit. So the entertainment monitor in front is much larger than the one that you'd find in the old Club World seat. The remote for that is to the left, and to be honest, both are quite old, so you have to press pretty hard on the screen to get a response. The seat controls are a bit unusual. You first need to pick which aspect of the suite you want to control, like the recline of the seat for instance, and then you use this dial to actually change it. It does take some time to get used to it, but I have to say that I found this control panel to be quite visually appealing. On the left you also have this large console with lots of storage space, and underneath it there is a tray table. I did have a bit of a hard time folding it out, but in the end I managed to do it. To be honest, I found it a bit wobbly, especially compared to the tray tables that Qatar has in their business class cabins. There is also an amenity kit, which is quite a big upgrade over the Club World amenity kit. And then finally, it was time for the food. The meal service started with a drink. I went for the Bloody Mary and some canapes. The crew were just fantastic. They were attentive, they were chatty, and again, I think the service was the overall highlight of the experience for me because it's head and shoulders above what you get in Club. For the starter, I went with the lobster option. And this was then followed by chicken for main. I mean, presentation of the meal was amazing, but in terms of taste, I honestly don't understand how it's different or how it's any better than what you normally get in Club World. Finally, the dessert was probably the best part of the meal, and I also loved how the tea was served in a real teapot. After the meal, I worked for a couple more hours until it was time for a nap. I asked the crew member to make up the bed, and this is what my seat looked like a few minutes later. At this point, I was kinda wishing it had been an overnight flight so that I could fully test out the bed, but anyway, I managed to get in a couple of hours of sleep. And then, guess what? It was time for another meal. I wasn't really hungry, but I thought this is supposed to be a comprehensive flight review, right? So I just did what I had to do. I still skipped the starter because I didn't like any of the options, but got the pasta for the main, and this was followed by another great dessert. And pretty soon after, it was time for us to land in Mexico City. Alright, now that the flight is over, what did I actually think of this experience? Well, I really enjoyed it and I'm glad that I tried it. The highlight of the experience for me, I would say, would be the service, and that includes both the level of attention from the crew and the flexibility that you get. And also the seat was pretty impressive in terms of its size and the quality of sleep that you can get in that seat. But then on the other hand, something that I found to be pretty disappointing was the food. Maybe that's because I had pretty high expectations in that regard from the start. But basically, okay, like granted, the presentation was very nice, but in terms of the taste and the quality of the food, I would say it's on par with an average Club World meal. And I say average because I have had meals in Club World that I enjoyed more than the first class meal on this flight. So then would I go out of my way in the future to fly first class over business class when feasible? Probably not. The gap between business class and first class was just way too small, but it is also just my subjective opinion and you may think completely differently. And by the way, if you want to fly business class and first class while paying economy prices, you're gonna need avios, and sometimes a lot of them. So check out this video to learn how to get a lot of additional avios out of your existing spending. And yeah, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.